Welcome to PMRC radio program.
Good afternoon and welcome to another exciting edition of the PMRC radio program. I'm your host as always. My name is Lewis and it's good to be back on your radio set this afternoon. And of course today we are looking at scores in enhancing human development in Zambia. And I'm not alone in the studio. I am joined by Alice Pearce. And it's Pearce, right?
Yes, Pearce.
All right, Senior Researcher, Policy and Monitoring Research Center. That's PMRC right here on Radio Christian Voice. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Lewis. Good afternoon, listeners.
Mm-hmm. Today, we like I mentioned in my preamble, we're looking at scores in enhancing human development in Zambia. And the first question that I have is basically, what is human development and why is it important to Zambia's development?
Okay, so I would say human development entails the expansion of programs, policies, and activities that safeguard the rights of all persons to attain the highest potential with the provision of services such as education, healthcare, among others. So basically, investing in human development is key in maintaining a healthy and skilled population, which is vital to economic growth and development. So the government, through the 7th National Development Plan, has been prioritizing investment in education and health sectors in order to guarantee equitable access to services and development. Further, its focus was aimed at enhancing the quality of human capital, accelerating economic growth, and promoting job creation.
All right. Now, access to quality education is a critical area to enhancing human development. What have been some of the notable scores to guaranteeing basic education for the Zambian child?
Okay. Firstly, the government has scored unprecedented achievements in all the 8 subsectors within the education sector, which are namely early childhood education, primary and secondary school education, youth and adult literacy, teacher education, skills development, science, technology, innovation, and university education. So government has also put up additional policy measures in order to ensure that the girl child has equitable access to education through the school re-entry policy and the implementation of various empowerment programs, such as the campaign to end child marriages. So some of the notable achievements in the education sector actually include the following. Firstly, I'll speak on early childhood education. Government has established over 2,386 early childhood education centers countrywide, which have been enrolling over 80,000 children. And then government has also trained and recruited over 1,350 early childhood education teachers. This is a very big score for early childhood education because this is the fundamental foundation for any child's learning structure.
All right, in case you just tuned in, this is the PMRC radio program, and I'm your host as always. My name is Lewis, and I am joined by Alice Pearce, the Senior Researcher at the Policy and Monitoring Research Center. And we're looking at scores in enhancing human development in Zambia as our topic for today. And having noted the success in general education, can we say the same for secondary education, Alice?
Yes, so I'll speak a bit also on general education. In terms of general education, government has been making basic education, as we all know, accessible countrywide because education from grades 1 to 7 is actually free. Mm-hmm. And government has also been implementing the homegrown school feeding program in primary schools across the country in order to ensure that children from grades 1 to 7 have improved nutrition while also still accessing free basic education. So the school feeding program currently has over 2,200 schools which are benefiting, with about 1,127,000 children accessing daily meals while attending school. Mm-hmm. Then government has also introduced the early grade reading assessment and early grade mathematics assessment at lower levels in order to improve literacy and numeracy skills. And then further as well in the general education field, you would find that there's improved provision of basic education through the construction of 118 schools, as well as the upgrading of 220 basic schools. So I can say the same successes have also been recorded at secondary education level. Some of the notable successes, for example, would be government has reduced school fees for schools at both boarding and day schools. We have also noticed an increased enrollment rate, which stands at about 94.3%. Government has also continued to upgrade the remaining 1,800 basic schools into secondary schools. Further, we've also noted the rehabilitation of all old secondary schools that were constructed in the First Republic. They've actually been expanded. Mm-hmm. And then in terms of ICT education, government has made that compulsory because it's now become a basic skill. So that has also impacted the education sector. Then there's over 14,000 girls that have been benefiting from a project called Keeping Girls in School. Mm-hmm. So these 14,000 girls are mostly from rural areas, and they've been able to access secondary education because they are now sponsored in order to access this facility.
Mm-hmm. Now, access to equitable education is critical to ensuring men and women compete fairly for opportunities. What policy measures has government put in place to ensure the girl child is not left behind?
Okay, there are two notable policy measures that have been put in place. The first one is the school re-entry policy. So this is in line with ensuring that girls attain their highest potential. Government has been implementing the school re-entry policy, which has seen many girls who have fallen pregnant go back to school. So between 2017 and 2020, I can say about 27,647 girls have been able to benefit under this policy. Then the second policy measure is ending child marriages. So in order to address child marriages, the government has adopted a national strategy to end child marriages with the view of building a Zambia that is free from child marriage by 2030. So to this effect, government launched a nationwide campaign in 2013 that's engaging traditional leaders in order to act as agents of change. So guidelines have been set and formulated in about 10 chiefdoms, and children have been withdrawn from marriages and sent back to school.
Mm-hmm. All right, you are still listening to the PMRC radio program right here on Radio Christian Voice. We're transmitting live from Lusaka straight to your radio sets on the following frequencies. In Lusaka, we are live on 106.1 FM. In Livingston as well as Ndola, you can catch us live on 98.9 FM. And in Kapiri-Mposhi, we are on 101.1 FM. In Chipata, you can catch us live on 98.9 FM. And in Solwezi, we are on 106.5 FM. You can as well stream us live by simply visiting our website. That's www.rcvoice.co.zm and click on the Listen Live link. Our topic of discussion today on the PMRC radio program is simply scores in enhancing human development in Zambia. And I'm not alone. I am joined by Alice Pearce, senior researcher at Policy and Monitoring Research Center. That's PMRC. Alice, enhancing the expertise and skills of labor force is crucial to the development of the nation. How does the government aim to achieve this?
Okay, so government has made tertiary education and skills training programs accessible by implementing some of the following measures. For example, government has upgraded 5 colleges into universities. These are Chalimbana, Palawana, Kwame Nkrumah, Mukuba, and Kapasa Makasa, which have now been upgraded to universities. Also, we've seen the ongoing expansion of student accommodation facilities at the University of Zambia, at CBU, at Mulungushi as well, and Evelyn Horn colleges. So government is aiming to create 9,600 bed spaces. We've also seen the increase in the number of public universities, which has risen from 3 to 7, with more campuses currently under construction as well. And there has been an establishment of more privately owned universities, currently amounting to about 40 universities. So in terms of strengthening vocational career paths, there has been continued support to around 30,000 university and TVETA students under the Loans and Scholarship Board, TVETA Bursary Skills Development Fund, and the Support to Science and Technology project. We've also seen the rehabilitation works are underway in various trade schools, and government has also sustained the fast-track upgrading program for teachers in mathematics and science, and also there has been an establishment of a nuclear science and technology center.
All right, as we come to the end of the program, with regards to the provision of healthcare services as a key focus area for human development, what are some of the strides government has made in this sector?
Okay, in terms of provision of healthcare services, so firstly, access to affordable and quality healthcare is a critical pillar in ensuring sustainable development and growth of a productive labor force. Also, government has made various strides in providing equitable healthcare services to this regard. For example, there has been a provision of strong and effective healthcare systems through the expansion of access to healthcare services. The goal as well is to attain universal health coverage, to reduce doctor-patient ratios, and also modernize the healthcare systems. So in this regard, the healthcare sector has also seen quite a number of developments and successes. For example, I can refer to when COVID-19 first started, government had to realign the 2020 budget in order to provide more resources to healthcare in order to effectively respond to the pandemic. Also in the 2021 national budget, we've noted an increase in budgetary allocation towards the health sector, which increased from 9.4 billion in 2020 to 9.6 billion in 2021. Then in terms of social development as well, we've noticed that there has been an overall maternal mortality ratio that has reduced from 398 in 2014 to 278 in 2018. That's for every 100,000 live births. Government has also managed to reduce and sustain the prevalence rate of HIV. For example, the rates were sitting at 13.3% in 2014 and have recently reduced to 11.1% in 2018. The country has also recorded a reduction in terms of incidence of tuberculosis. This has reduced from 376 cases in 2016, that's the prevalence rate, to 346 per 100,000 people. Then in terms of improving healthcare provision, we've noticed also that there has been a recruitment of about 23,000 healthcare workers since 2017 and upgrading of health posts as well. For example, in Chinsali and Kalindawalo General Hospitals, we've seen that those ones have been completed and are now operational. The Levi Mwanawasa Hospital has also been upgraded from 120 bed capacity to 850 bed capacity. We've also noticed that the Cancer Disease Hospital has been completed and is now operational. That's 240 inpatient bed capacity. And in terms of training institutions for healthcare professionals, we've seen that there has been change there as well. For example, the National Health Training Institution has been completed at Levi Mwanawasa Hospital with a capacity to train 3,000 health professionals. Then we've seen the completion and expansion of Mainasoko Military Hospital, which has now played a critical role as well in COVID-19 pandemic. We've also seen that selected health facilities have been upgraded to level 1 hospitals. For example, Matero, Chipata, and Chilenje clinics have been upgraded, and they are now first level hospitals. Then in terms of improving universal health care. We've seen that the National Health Insurance Scheme has come into effect, and 540,000 employees have been registered with the scheme, and 126 healthcare facilities have been accredited to this scheme.
All right. Thank you so much, Alice, for coming through. And of course, this is where we get to wrap it up for today. Our topic of discussion has been scores in enhancing human development in Zambia. And in the studio, I was joined by Alice Pearce, senior researcher at the Policy and Monitoring Research Center. My name is Lewis. Till next week, same time, same frequency. Keep it locked on to Radio Christian Voice.
That was PMRC Radio Program.